Hi, I'm David Wovrash, attorney with the Legal Aid Society's Low Income Taxpayer Clinic. While the 2025 filing season is over, it's not too late to think about next year's taxes. If you ended up owing taxes this year, you may not have had enough taxes withheld from your paycheck. We will talk about tax withholding, what it is, and how to make sure you are withholding enough taxes. As always, go ahead and type your questions in the chat and we'll answer them along the way. Well, what are withholdings? Withholdings are simply an amount that is taken out of a paycheck for income taxes. These payments are then given to the IRS throughout the year. When you file your taxes, you have to calculate how much you owe the IRS in taxes. The goal of withholding each paycheck is to have paid all of the taxes that you owe by the end of the year. If the IRS was paid more in withholdings during the year than you owe in taxes, you get a refund. If you withhold too little, the IRS will probably say that you owe come filing season. Getting it right makes sure that your paychecks are as large as possible without owing the IRS. Are withholdings automatically taken out? Well, just because you are receiving a paycheck does not mean that taxes are automatically taken out. You have to tell your employer or the agency making the payment how much you'd like to have withheld. There's a specific form to use for this. It's called a W-4. We're dropping a link to this form in the chat. The W-4 is given to your employer when you start a job or any time that you would like to make a change to your withholdings. So what goes in a W-4? Of course, your name and your address are on the form, but you should also know the filing status that you plan to use. If you're single, you'll mark that differently than if you're head of household or married. Second, you need to know if you are including withholdings from any other job that you have. If you're married, you may need to include your spouse's income and withholding information as well. You will also need to include how many dependents you will include on your return. This can be complicated. So to help you figure this out, there is a worksheet that the IRS provides on the W-4 itself to do these calculations. As always, we're dropping a link in the chat to this calculator. Well, when should you fill out a new W-4? You can submit a new W-4 to your employer at any time. You should do this as soon as you know that you have a major job or life change. If you file your taxes and you owe the IRS money because there wasn't enough withheld during the year, it's probably time to submit a new W-4. Second, if you get married or have a child during the year, you should submit a new W-4 so that your withholdings reflect these life changes. If you want to take out additional withholdings or deductions for any reason, you can use a new W-4 to do this as well. Are withholdings withheld from independent contractors? Well, one important thing to know is whether you are an employee who gets a W-2 or an independent contractor who gets a 1099. Independent contractors generally don't get federal income taxes withheld from their paychecks. Instead, the taxes are calculated and paid when a return is filed. Independent contractors should consider this when it comes time to file their return. Often, independent contractors will need to estimate how much they will owe at the end of the year and then pay that quarterly. Now, I've been talking about a W-4 and jobs a lot, but withholdings are not just for people who get a W-2. You can request that federal and state income taxes are withheld from any number of different payments. So what types of payments? Well, you can request that taxes are taken out from Social Security retirement or disability payments. If you take distributions from a retirement account, either in regular payments or as a lump sum, you can also request withholdings. If you received unemployment, this counts as taxable income. Taxes are often not taken out of unemployment, and people are surprised when they owe at filing. So it's recommended that you request withholdings from these payments. You'll need to contact the agency making the payments to determine how to adjust those withholdings. One final thing to keep in mind. You should always check your pay stub or your pay statement to make sure that funds are being withheld for federal, state, and local taxes. If taxes are not being withheld, you should submit a new W-4 to make sure that the taxes are coming out. This is especially true when you start a new job, as well as checking at the beginning of each year. If you check your pay stubs and pay statements often, you can catch any withholding errors and make a correction before you find out during the filing season. Remember, if you have issues with your federal taxes, Legal Aid's Low Income Taxpayer Clinic may be able to help. Give us a call at 513-241-9400 or apply online. And there's a link in the chat to apply online. We'll continue doing Facebook Live chats dealing with important tax topics, so make sure you follow us on social media at Cincy Legal Aid.